Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Long ago, when men cursed and beat the ground with sticks and threw things into the bushes, it was called witchcraft. Today, it's called golf. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. A Thursday, we made it. Good morning. Good morning. I'm Zeb Bell. Zeb at the Ranch, and good morning. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And don't forget some of our great advertisers, too, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. I'm going to sneeze in a minute. I know I am. I'm sorry. And also Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Did you ever have that happen to you, Gina, where you can feel it coming on and it's just lingering and all of a sudden, kaboom, it hits you?
Happens to me all of the time, and usually mine come in like sixes.
You sneeze 6 times in a row?
Yeah.
Do you realize what that does to your brain?
Do you realize what that does to my heart?
Do you realize what it does to anybody around you?
Clear the room.
Yeah.
Sneezing. Actually, I sneeze in my arm, but still, I always sneeze in like a series of 6.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Deanne does, I think she sneezes in series of like 2s, 3s, something like that. I just sneeze in series of 1s, and boy, it's a dandy. But, you get this urge when you're on the air. Did you ever want to, when you were on television, and I know what happened to me on television, when I had our show, Johnny and I had Cowboy Country, and you can feel it coming on. It's just a little tickle in your nose, and you sit there and you kind of make a little twist of your lips one way or the other way, and you kind of twist your nose a little bit, and all of a sudden, you're always saying something. It's never when the other guy's talking. It's always when you're saying something.
I don't think honestly, that never happened to me. Coughing was my thing. I used to get bronchitis, and so coughing. And I would start coughing so bad that I would actually have to get up and leave the newscast, go outside the studio and cough, and then and turn off my mic at the same time, and then I would come back in.
The funniest thing, I got to say this real quick, folks. Pardon me for taking so much time. I saw that clip. They have these clips about all the outtakes about different newscasts and everything. And I'm not saying anything crude. It was just part of life. But one of the anchormen on a newscast back in Minneapolis, Minnesota, got up from the main news desk prior to the coming back to him. They were doing the sports and went into the restroom. But he forgot to take his microphone and everything off.
So you heard the kerflush,
huh? Yeah, there was a lot of things that you didn't really want to hear. I mean, anyhow.
And you figured that Master Control would have been smart enough to shut his mic off.
Some smaller stations aren't very bright. Okay.
I wish I could have seen that one.
Yeah, that was great.
I don't want to see it. I just want to hear it.
I could tell you a story about a pastor that happened to, too, but I won't. He's listening.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Anyway, do we have a pledger?
We have Mr. Carl Clark on for the pledge and Michael Rogers on for the weather.
Okay, great. Carl, good morning. God bless you. The pledge, please.
Good morning. God bless you, and thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Carl. Always a pleasure, and I hope you're feeling better so that you can be at Lunch Bunch. We would love to see you.
Well, if I can get out of the doctor's office soon enough, I'll be there.
All right. God bless you, Carl. Thanks so much. Take care. It's time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by Save-On Shells, 1835 Overland and Burley with Anthony, and the number to call, 312-1525. All the camper shells for your pick-em-up truck that you could possibly want to look at. I'll tell you more about them right after this weather with MichaelRogersWeather.com.
Good morning. It's going to be sunny today. It's going to be sunny all weekend. 77 for the high, 85 for the high on Saturday, 83 for the high on Monday. Enjoy it.
I guess that's it. Okay, thank you. Save on Shells bringing you MichaelRogersWeather.com with a brand new selection of ARE shells. Oh, my goodness, all the different models, all the different colors. They got a color coordinated right there for your pickup. Let me tell you, and a fantastic selection of used shells. Boy, they are in great shape. You better believe it. Installation, parts, and service, they really care. They can and will find what you want if by chance it's not there on their property. I guarantee you these folks really are good. And that's, of course, Save on Shells. And they're located at 1835 Overland and Burley with Anthony at 312-1525. How do I most... what did I say? 312-1525 for the number? Yeah, that's right, Zeb.
Say a number yet.
Huh?
Huh? I said you didn't say a number.
Well, I meant to. Quit bugging me, lady. 312-1525 Save on Shells. How do I know so much about them? Because I bought one from Save on Shells. Hey, it's sale day at the Burley Livestock. Merv, come on in here.
All right, it gets the steer calves here to get all 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, and 32, 2.5, 3.5.
That's the chant of the world's best auctioneer right there, Merv May, along with Lance Udy and the rest of the crew at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, and the number to call, 678-9411. Ripping good sale today at 10:30. Everybody be there. Udy Cattle Company out at Rockland going to be bringing in a load of butcher cows. TLK Dairy, butcher cows out of Mountain Home. Antelope Hills Dairy, south of Burley, butcher cows. Moon Mountain's coming in with some butcher cows. And P-Bar S Dairy's bringing in a load of Dairy Holstein heifers. All of this, plus a great trailer line run. It starts at 10:30 this morning at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And the number to call again, 678-9411. Merv, come on in and sell those steers.
All right, it gets the steer calves here to get all 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, and 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, and 5.5, 135, 50, 135, and $7.35. Zeb Bell gets bottom again.
I tell you what, I'll take that bottom price. I like that. Denny's Restaurant, we're going to be there at 11:30 this morning for Lunch Bunch. Don't miss it, please. We really enjoy seeing you there at Lunch Bunch at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley. And Denny's has just been so doggone supportive of us over there. And Thomas is going to be on the air with us later this morning. You can have breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. The menu is fantabulous. Service out of this world. Really nice people. And don't forget also we're going to have some gift certificates to give away from Walmart's Miss Food and Hanson Mortuary, along with Denny's Restaurant. Thank you much. 611 Overland and Burley. We'll see you at 11:30 today for Lunch Bunch. Going to be a lot of fun. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Before I go any further, I'm going to go right back across the river and through the woods to Gina's house we go. And we're going to have our tip of the coffee cup this morning. And our tip of the coffee cup goes to, this morning, Dr. Adrian Arp in the Twin Falls area. And also, out at Oakley, Speaker of the House Scott and his lovely wife, Sarah Bedke. So a tip of the coffee cup. Let's hear that old slurp, can we, Gina?
that is so good.
There you go. And by the way, also, a thank you is out this one. I like people that really have the good manners to say thanks to people. Ken Menzel, that was running for Minidoka County Sheriff in the election on Tuesday, said thank you to all the people that voted for him and supported him during that campaign. So that was really nice from Ken Menzel. Okay, now let's take a look. I want to get into this right away this morning, and then there's a couple other topics I want to talk about, too. Yesterday, I had some really wonderful people on the air, and two of which were Randy and Carlene Hardy from Oakley. Randy, of course, the president of the National Potato Council, and they mentioned to me, I had not seen the article, or I should say the editorial piece in the Times News, in denigration to the potato industry. And I was absolutely shocked. I mean, when I read the editorial, after I got off the air, I was completely shocked. And it shows complete lack of respect from the Times News to the potato industry, especially famous Idaho potatoes. How in the world could these silly, frivolous, politically correct times, can a newspaper turn its back on its agricultural heritage, especially the Idaho potato industry? It just blew my mind when I read that op-ed piece, and they literally threw the potato industry and its farmers, hard-working farmers, under the bus. And the point I want to make here this morning is this. From the beef industry to the dairy industry, from the sugar industry to the potato industry, questionable and shaky at best new science, and I want to underline those words, new science, from agenda-driven scientists. Now keep in mind, agenda-driven scientists are there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to sway the public opinion to what the agenda is and what the control is. Just like the wild, frizzy-eyed people with the climate change with the Obama administration. Caller, stand by just a minute. Let me make my point. So, new science from agenda-driven scientists have tainted, and I want to use that word, and they really tainted responsibility and fact. And I just absolutely found that op-ed piece in the Times News yesterday denigrating, disgusting, and poorly written by the opinion editor that put that together in denigration of an industry that absolutely raises a nutritious crop of potatoes to feed the world, and hopefully enough money to stay in farming. And the local newspaper denigrates you in the industry, and I find that very offensive. And to all the farmers out there that raise potatoes, we salute you, and we certainly hope that this editorial and other thoughts against the potato go far, far away. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, you know what's so amazing about this is the fact that the potato farmers, all of the ranchers, farmers, whatever they raise across this valley in southern Idaho, are the reason why the economy continues to be vibrant, and it has nothing to do with the Times News editorial board and what they say. And it's amazing to me that they literally live off of what these people produce, you know, in an economy, and they have the cojones to do this. And you say, do you have any idea what the hell you're even talking about?
You know, right there, stop, because you made a very, very valid point, exclamation point behind it. No, they don't know what they're talking about. The potato is a vegetable that is the most nutritious and most vital to a diet of anything that we eat. And I'm sick and tired of having people denigrate, whether it's, like I said a moment ago, the beef industry or the dairy industry or the sugar industry, or in this case, the potato industry. You know, I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. We have these weird scientists that have an agenda driven through government control that want us to eat nothing than what is squeezed out of a toothpaste tube made from chemical, and I'm sick and tired of what's going on in this country.
Well, the problem with these people is this: they never ever
intend to go out and really get to know the rancher or the farmer and realize that they are affecting people's lives with this kind of thing, with this kind of editorial. And it's amazing to me, if they went out and really got to know these people, they'd say, this is wrong, what we're doing. But you see, that the rules for radicals is that you never, ever look your enemy in the face for fear that you might actually weaken, because you'll see that he's actually human.
Yeah, I'll tell you something, Randy. I was so upset after reading this editorial and knowing, and when you look at the vegetable, the potato, okay, you can take any product that we eat, and you can put things on it, you can make additives to it and everything else that would absolutely put on the caloric content and possibly add weight to anybody or increase their volume of perhaps levels that they shouldn't have for being obese, etc. But the potato, in its purest form, is absolutely one of the greatest foods that God has ever blessed this world with. And I'm sick and tired of people that haven't got the common sense that God gave to a billy goat denigrating the industry like the Times News editorial board. I think I know who wrote this, and I absolutely am going to stay on top of this editorial. He has made other editorials that have been very denigrating to the rest of us, agriculture, etc., and I'm going to stay on top of this and ridicule them every time I get a chance.
Well, he's been in your house and you've interviewed him.
Bingo, yes.
Yeah, I know who it is, and this is the reason why I don't have the number off the top of my head, but you call the Autumn Agar and you say, hey, Autumn, do you guys want to stay in business? Do you care? Do you realize that the economy of this valley depends so much on the potato industry that when McCain Foods decide to halt their expansion, that it affects the potato farmers, and they're concerned. This is insanity. This is the enemy under our nose, sticking a... It's unbelievable.
Well, okay, what's next? What's next, Randy? What's next? Are they going to... Let me see here for a second. Okay, maybe this same person will write an editorial about the bean industry, and we shouldn't eat beans anymore because it causes flatulence, and so that adds to the methane gas and global warming. I mean, the idiocy and hypocrisy of these people is not... it's not limited, let me tell you.
Well, again... It's just like when they attack a dairyman who had nothing to do with the harm that was being done to his cows. And they don't go out and get to know these people. And if they look them in the eye, they'll realize that they can't let them be human. They have to be the enemy.
Now, I got to run, but you made some excellent points. Thank you very much, Randy. Appreciate it. Hey, your local home and ranch store, and calls are welcome, 436-2244. Caller, I'll be right with you. Your local home and ranch store, Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Oh, my. Valley White Home and Ranch has all of your lawn and garden needs. And if you have questions, Mr. Garden Rake Steve can answer them. Still 10% off on all the 4-H equipment and supplies, and anything you need over there is ready for you at Valley White Home and Ranch. Really, really good folks. 910 South Oneida in Rupert. You stop in and see them today. Also, real fast, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Go to the light. Go to the light. They've got all the lights. Incandescent light bulbs along with all the CFL bulbs and the outside lighting and the lamps and everything you need to see. And your electrical needs, all the cords, cord ends, fuses, everything. And if you want to call ahead, 678-0459, they'll have your order waiting for you. Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they always provide warm winters and cool summers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Jeff. Talking about the potato and McCain's issue, that kind of caught the kink for me because I was depending on that expansion. That was going to be something big for me, for my income. And it didn't only affect just the potato growers or just the employment in the area of workers for the factory. It trickled on down to everybody, the people who haul potatoes in, the people who's running the hogs to get them up out of the cellar, and the people digging them out of the field. it trickled down, and as your last caller was saying, man, it really put a hurt on a lot of people.
Well, anytime you denigrate the agricultural industry as a whole, you're absolutely taking the fork, the spoon out of your mouth, because it's just plain ludicrous. And here we are known as one of the premier potato states, famous Idaho potatoes, and all the other things that we grow here. I don't know why any newspaper that had any common sense at all would not want to back the people that have backed and supported them. It makes no common sense to me.
Me, I don't either. It's like the asparagus. You can wrap that in bacon, and it tastes really, really good, but it's no better than having a baked potato with bacon on it, is it?
Listen, partner, on asparagus, don't try to make a good analogy with me. That's one little veggie right there you're not going to get this fat boy to eat. Thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. Have a good day. Thank you. Asparagus. Oh.
Eat asparagus? What about pickled asparagus?
I won't touch it with your fork. No way. I can't eat asparagus. It lays there on the plate and it looks at me and goes, I'm going to make you choke.
Really? I love asparagus.
Can't eat it.
It took, as a kid, absolutely no way. But as an adult, I absolutely love it. You saute it with butter and garlic, and ooh, buddy.
I look at asparagus the same way out of the corner of my eye as I look at liver and also squash. There is no way that my lips will part and ingest any of the asparagus.
The latter two, absolutely agree. Liver is not allowed in my house, period, point blank, and neither is squash. I won't cook it.
Boy, am I glad to hear that at least we agreed on 2 out of 3.
Yeah. I could tell you about a story of me and squash as a kid, but we won't go into that today.
Yeah, you probably will wait right before we do the starving to death. That's what you'll do to me. I know you will.
Yes, or after.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'll get Jim a call on in just a minute. I want to remind everybody about Four Paws Bed and Bath, 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. They're going to be having a kids' canine camp coming up on June 14th from 10 to 4. And it's not to train the kids. It's to help learn how to groom dogs, obedience classes, games, lunch, lots of really good things to have kids learn. And you need to pre-register by June 9th. This is going to be a good deal. Kids Canine Camp at Four Paws Bed and Bath. These folks really take care of the dogs and kitty cats at 370 West, 200 South of Rupert. Number to call, 438-4444. Good heavens, look who's out of bed this morning. Jim McCall, how are you?
Good, Deb. How are you today?
Not too shabby. What in the world is going on at Traveloop Supply?
Deb, well, we mentioned last week about spraying. We still have this supply of sprayer parts available. Up to half off on that stuff. Call us and see if we have what you need, and if we don't, we can get it for you.
All right. It sounds like you're in the cab of a tractor someplace, aren't you?
Yeah, out spraying beets this morning.
Listen, Traveloop Supply, 1050 West, 203 South of Hayburn. And another thing I want you to touch on. Somebody called me the other day and they said, what's this about cleaning air filters? Quickly tell us about that service.
You bet. We can clean your air filters for you. If you have dirty air filters in your tractors, trucks, what have you, we can send them off. We have them cleaned. We can save you a lot of money. Some of these air filters are over $100 now every time you change them. So you can get that done for half of that. That saves you a lot of money over the course of the year.
Absolutely.
And we will do the first one for free, so you can become acquainted with what we're doing and see how the process works.
All right, that is my dear friend Jim McCall. Watch where you're driving. You almost drove over a corrugate too far. And 1050 West?
All right.
Okay.
Hey, we have something new on the filters.
Okay.
You can now clean diesel exhaust filters.
Oh, okay.
If you have an 07 or newer truck, diesel truck, they probably have an exhaust filter. Those are, instead of replacing them, you can get them cleaned. Give us a call on that. We'll help you out.
Number to call, 438-8730, Travel Lube Supply. They deliver the goods. Jim McCall, God bless. Have a wonderful weekend on Memorial Day weekend.
Thanks, Ed. We'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Thank you. There is a nice man right there with Travel Lube Supply. It is time for the Capital Press Ag Minute, brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Here's the Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly. Once little more than a niche market, branded beef today is the norm. More than half the beef sold at retail these days is branded, according to a 2010 National Meat Case audit. The audit found that 51% of beef sold in 2010, the latest year for which figures are available, was branded, up from 31% in 2007. Brand qualifications typically call for producers to raise cattle under specific production practices, such as antibiotic-free or hormone-free, and brands can be breed-specific, according to the Center. The Center is a national information resource for value-added agriculture. The amount of organic beef products on the market is also increasing, experts say. For the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Brandon Tenner.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
All right, thank you very much, and brought to you by Lennox Home Comfort Systems, again through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Yesterday, my lovely bride took it upon herself to listen and write notes about what Obama said during the newscast about the VA, and it was absolutely despicable, and I'm going to get into some of that in just a minute. First and foremost, here's a call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, when it comes to potatoes, I grew up on potatoes, and I think a lot of other people did as well. It's a very nutritious food, has a tremendous food value, and, you know, for the government to exclude it from any kind of a food program is just absolutely foolhardy.
Well, did you read, Adrian, that editorial? I want to ask you that first and foremost.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, they like I say, the guy that authors that also says that farmers, if it's raining outside, even if you only get a tenth of an inch, you're supposed to go out and shut your sprinklers off. That's the kind of mentality that's out there.
Well, he's also, if it's the same person we're thinking of, he's the one that wrote about how we're all silly for not accepting everything about global warming. I mean, this gentleman has caused a lot of angst in the area, but this was absolutely repulsive, basically whipping the potato industry down like a whip pup. And I didn't care for it at all, and if I get the opportunity, I'm going to invite him on our program, and I'm going to look him in the eye and tell him that I think he was absolutely wrong in what he did.
Well, he won't. He may invite him, but I've talked to him. You know, he's from New York, I think, and so I mean, he has no clue. I don't know why he's out here in the first place. He really doesn't even fit into a background or anything, and so it's just sad when we have these kind of people that are, not informed. They just go along with go along with whatever is the popular thing. And of course, here's the bottom line: is Al Gore wants all food produced, all of it in, to save the country. We're going to import all of our food, so we shouldn't produce anything here. And, of course, that's totally foolhardy, but that's the kind of mentality that we have right here in the local editorial board.
I agree with you, Adrian. I got a whole slug of calls. Appreciate it. God bless, and have a great weekend. Be careful out there. Thank you.
Yeah, have a nice Memorial weekend yourself.
Thank you, sir.
Bye now.
Caller, I'll be right with you. I want to tell everybody about Berry Equipment and Rental. My goodness, have you been into Berry Equipment and Rental, whether it's the location on Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, or South Lincoln and Jerome, or the new one at 159 West Highway 30 in Burley? Oh, they've got equipment all over the place. I mean, they've got a whole herd of Coyote tractors, and they've got all the Doosan loaders and excavators, and they've got all the Bobcats. I don't know how they keep up with everything, and all the Walker lawnmowers. I mean, hey, come on. That's where everything's at, whether you're renting or whether you're buying. That is the place to go, Barry Equipment and Rental. And like I said, they're still looking for some really good mechanics. So if you're a mechanic, have Screwdriver Will Travel. I'll tell you what, they're waiting for you to stop in and put in a little bit of a resume. Stop over to Barry Equipment and Rental, Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
In many instances, our troops are sent overseas to protect American business interests. Why is it that our companies, big companies, aren't more involved with what's going on with the VA?
I can't answer that question because I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody does. I listened to Obama yesterday, and Deanne, thank God for her, she wrote down a lot of what he said, and he used the same old passwords that he has used in regards to Fast and Furious, that he used in regards to the IRS scandal, that he used in regards to almost every scandal, Benghazi, etc. And the words were held accountable, responsible, and brought to justice. None of these words ever are applicable to really having something done. This president is offering nothing more than lip service. This administration is just making the problem worse. It's exacerbated through the Obama administration, and it's pathetic what's happening to our military.
Well, he's a major problem of what's going on in his country because he's shoving all these responsibilities off on everybody else because he is not capable of making any decision.
You know, I want to ask you something. You know, when Kathleen Sebelius was in charge of Obamacare, just prior to the roof caving in and her being replaced, remember what Obama said? Oh, Kathleen Sebelius is doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job. Those were the words of Obama. And he said Secretary of the VA Shinseki is doing a great job. I'll tell you something, Tony. Shinseki, after hearing that yesterday about how great a job he's doing, he better start looking for a job as a greeter.
Well, these people are just fall guys for his mistakes. That's all this is.
Well, I feel so sorry for the families of the VA, people that have not been taken care of, our veterans that have not been taken care of, and it's pathetic in this land that has been a beacon of hope for the rest of the world. How we treat our military is absolutely ridiculous.
Well, you got a good bunch of information coming up shortly.
All right, sir. Hey, listen, Tony, I really appreciate you and Mary. God's blessings to you, and have a safe, sane Memorial Day weekend.
We certainly will. Mary sends her regards.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This president, and I dare somebody to prove me wrong, has never really looked at a problem and pursued correction of the problem. Tell me one thing that this man has done to overcome a problem, and other than use words like I mentioned a moment ago, we'll find out who is responsible and we will hold them accountable. I can go through the news service this morning after this program. If you want to hear all those tapes, if you want to hear all those sound bites, that's exactly what he said about everything. We will find out who was responsible and hold them accountable. And then those that started the problem and created the problem will be brought to justice. Never happened. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, do you know how many liberals it takes to change a light bulb?
You know, for some reason, knowing who this is, I'm scared to ask. How many?
None. They don't know they're in the dark.
You know, and that's really the truth. I mean, how in the world can somebody like Harry Reid, did you hear the comment by, I got to ask you this, Charlie Hurt, that writes for the Washington Times, he honestly thinks, and he wrote this in an article yesterday, that Harry Reid is possessed by the devil. And he said at some point we have to stop and consider the fact that maybe either Harry Reid has become possessed by something, by some spirit, maybe by Satan himself. He said he's nuts.
I agree. I have to agree with him. But I can't remember the guy's name. It was on the tip of my tongue, and now it's gone through my brain. But the guy that the movie The Last Man Standing, is that the name of the movie? That he wrote that book, and he was what, the Marine that everybody else got killed.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, is it Marcus Luttrell?
I think so. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think it is. Okay, go ahead.
He had a suggestion for the whole veterans thing. He said, do away with the Veterans Affairs. Do away with the hospitals. Do away with the special doctors. Said, just when they come home, give them a card that says, I'm a veteran, treat me. And it doesn't matter where they take it.
Now, I did hear him.
Hospital, anywhere.
I did hear him say that on a news clip, as a matter of fact, I think day before yesterday. And it was Marcus Luttrell. And it makes so much sense. Wouldn't that be a whole lot more simple? It would cost a lot less. Absolutely.
And
the care would be there when they need it, not 30, 60, or 90 days later. There wouldn't be possibly, and I hope and pray that we won't hear of any more suicides because of the depression that has set in because they're not being cared for. You know, the other day, and this really bothered me, to the caller, I want you to respond to this. The other day, when I heard that story about that veteran that was begging and pleading for somebody to talk to because he was showing and displaying suicidal tendencies, and some person at the VA handed him a paper card, and it was a suicide hotline card, and they said, go home and call these people. Well, he went home all right, but he went home and hung himself. How cold and calloused have we become in this country when somebody's begging for help and we hand them a card?
Yeah. Or this guy that we have in the Mexican prison now, who was just in Southern California looking for help with his PSTD and took a wrong turn. And now look where he's at.
Well, okay, stop right there, though. What about Pastor Abedini? Here is an American pastor from Boise, Idaho, that's locked up in an Iranian prison, being beaten to the point where his kidneys and all of his bodily functions are at risk now, and he may not make it, and our government's doing nothing to get him out. Same with the Marine in Mexico. We are letting all of Mexico's illegals that want to come across our border like it's porous cheese, and we're not doing anything. But do you think we'll stand up for one Marine that made a mistake on the roads and just not say, not ask, but demand, hey, it is now 8:45 in the morning. At 9 o'clock, we want that Marine on American soil or else.
Yeah, we'll just start dropping bombs. But maybe we should treat every single interloper across our borders the same way.
Absolutely. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. You call more often. I love to hear from you. Thank you much. God bless. Have a good day. We got to do a weather forecast right now, and the weather this hour is brought to you by Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center at 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergencies, major care. The doctor will see you now, not in 4 or 5 days. Number to call, 678-6996. We'll have more right after Michael Rogers' weather.
Hi, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Sunny all the way across the board through the weekend. Temperatures as low as the middle 70s. And you can see possibly daytime highs in the mid-80s all the way across the board. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weather. I'll see you Monday. It's the only weather you got.
And thank you very much, Michael. Don't forget Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, and they urge everybody to be careful out there on this Memorial Day weekend. And if you do have any injuries, don't forget, you give them a call at 678-6996. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergencies, major care. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. There's something else I want to get your opinion on this, because maybe you think I'm wrong and I'm getting worked up over nothing, but I think you'll agree with me. The 911 Museum back in New York City, as far as I am concerned, should be a sacred, solemn place. And I commented on this a little bit yesterday. Not only sacred and solemn, but very quiet and contemplative. And when I heard that former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, he organized just the other evening a black tie cocktail party with some major money people to raise a lot of funds, it's right over the remains of thousands of people that died during 9/11. And when I think about everybody going in and not only buying and distributing all these souvenirs, but having a black tie affair to raise money over the dead, I mean, would they go to Arlington and do this? Would they go to any cemetery and do this type of thing? No. And it's so solemn. And something else that really bothered me is on one of the plaques, there is the word jihad. And we have become so politically correct in this world and so stupid that we are so afraid we might offend somebody. A person took a picture of that plaque with the word jihad, and on the way out, I guess one of the workers at the museum said, "Oh, no, you can't publicize that word jihad because it might offend somebody." My question to you is, in the audience, why in the world should we be worried or afraid of offending the Muslims, offending the Islamic jihadists, and offending the terrorists? Why? These people are bent on killing us. They call us infidels. And like the lady said yesterday, Joy Brighton, that was on my program, talking about how the implementation of Sharia law is becoming much stronger in this country and how dumb and gullible and naive we are for letting it happen, with the Muslim Brotherhood being an infiltrating point into our own government, we'd better wake up and smell the coffee. Why should we possibly be worried about offending somebody that caused this 3,000 plus deaths on 9/11? Why should we worry about offending them? Have we got so politically correct in this world? Oh, why we can't do that, or we can't say that because we might offend the people that instigated the killing spree. I will continue to denigrate those that are involved in a jihad. I will continue to absolutely downcast everyone connected with that faith and or religion when they have taken it to the extreme and have tried to kill around the world. You can bet on it. And I am not afraid of hurting their feelings. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I just couldn't believe that. Curator at the...
What was this memorial, or what was this soiree held for? What was it, a fundraiser?
Yeah, it was a fundraiser, and this is where the families of the victims at 911 are so upset.
I was just reading the story in the New York Daily.
No, so you're understanding what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, here are people, and I don't want to sound gory, I don't want to sound grisly, but many of the victims never were recovered so that there could be a proper burial. Many disintegrated in the absolute rush of the building crashing to the ground of both the Twin Towers, and their remains were never found. And the museum is built upon the site and location of the Twin Towers. And to turn it into a carnival atmosphere, if it were a family member of me, I can guarantee you, Gina, I would be outraged at what Bloomberg did.
I would be more than outraged, and these family members who are speaking out are more than outraged as well, because just like you said, basically they're holding this swanky little fundraiser at a gravesite.
Yeah.
They're a memorial. This is a place that was built to be somber and solemn, and to remember those who died in an innocent. They were innocent and they were attacked. Basically, this was an ambush, and they're holding a party on grave?
Well, it's no different. It's no different, and I used the analogy a few minutes ago. It's no different than everybody setting up a great big circus tent at Arlington National Cemetery.
You just don't do that. How tacky. I'm appalled, and honestly, for all of the surviving family members, I hope that they raise a big old stink and that something like this never happens again.
Well, and I want to have you respond. I want to have you respond to the other part of what I said.
I'm on the phone too.
Okay, I'll take that in just a minute. But I want you to respond quickly to this. There is so much protectionism against the Muslims, I should say for the Muslims, and for jihad, and for Islamic terrorists, that they wanted to strike every word on the plaques and everything, but one did get in there that had the word jihad. And one of the museum curators, if you will, when a person took a picture of it, said, now don't publicize that picture, you should give it back to us, because we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Gina, I don't care if their feelings are hurt.
I don't care if their feelings are hurt. We all know who actually perpetrated the attack on the World Trade Towers. And so why cannot we condemn them inside the memorial? Why can't we say, okay, these are the people that did it, so remember that.
Islamic terrorists. There you go.
Amen. Okay, so you've got Al on the phone, and we've got another call coming.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much. Real quick, Lennox Home Comfort Systems through our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Gas furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps. Your family will enjoy the comfort of Lennox. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, Jeb.
Yes, sir.
I see all this stuff going on, and you know what? I just wonder what in the hell have we been fighting for? Is this the kind of crap that the United States people have to put up with because one damn person don't like the word jihad?
Al, you have listened to my program ever since we started it. You've been a faithful listener, and you know that I abhor the political correctness in this country. I abhor the weakness in this country, and I absolutely have nothing but hate and disdain for the almost giving tribute to the enemies that are trying to kill us.
That's what I mean. What in the hell is we supposed to fight for if we've got to sit back, get kicked in the teeth just because one person don't like the word jihad? That's too damn bad.
Amen.
As far as I'm concerned, if you don't like it, get your butt packed, get in your damn airplane, and get out of here.
Amen, Al. You know I will not weaken on this, and if it comes to political correctness, you know you're not going to hear it on this show. Thank you so much.
You hear old Dean, the way he talks about the Republicans and all that crap. You know what? Mr. Dean, shut your mouth.
What?
Take the damn trip and go someplace else.
How could he get away with those statements? And the only answer I have is because of the party affiliation he belongs to. If a Republican or a Tea Party member said anything like that, every news outlet would denigrate that person. And Howard Dean, being dumber than a fence post, gets away with it.
I know it. Well, you know why? Affiliation to the Democrats, and didn't used to be that way.
There you go. Al, God bless you and Polly. Thank you so much.
See you at lunch, man.
You bet, buddy. Thank you. Caller number 2, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning again. Well, that's true. If you're not, look what Harry Reid, the statements he's made. Good grief, if that had been any Republican senator, it would have made headlines. The double standard is unbelievable. I just want to make one comment. We've had this very wild weather all over the country, which is not unusual in spring anyway, but God is not happy with what's happening here. He's being mocked. We've stopped worshiping him as a nation, and we're allowing all these other religions to just say whatever they want to and denigrate God and Christ. And so George Mason said it well. He said, if we quit being a Christian nation and become wicked, Providence, through natural calamities, would punish this country.
I agree.
It's happening all over, and I can guarantee you, folks, it's really sad when only 23% or 1/4 of people even show up at the polls in important elections.
I agree with you, Adrian, and I want to emphasize the point that you just made a moment ago about the turning our back away from God, our Creator, and the Muslims and the jihadists, if you will, or the Islamic terrorists that are trying to impose into our court system the Sharia law that Joy Brighton talked about yesterday. It's through our stupidity and our naivete that this country is falling apart from within, not outside sources. It's falling apart from within.
Yeah, I mean, in most 19 of 21 great civilizations, they weren't destroyed from invading armies. They were destroyed from within, and we're going to be number 20 in that list the way we're going. So, folks, let's get back to worshiping God of the land and bring forth the Constitution as brought forth by our founding fathers instead of all this political correctness stuff. And it's just, every night, morning and night, during the day, pray that there will be a revival of God-fearing America once again, because, in 2 Chronicles 7:14, it says, if we repent and worship God, the land will be healed and will be forgiven.
I got to run, and I appreciate it. I got to get to the news from ABC. Thank you, Adrian. Do appreciate it. Thank you much. Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And serving is the key word. Best tire value promise in the industry with the best tires. I mean, they've got all the tires for your driving needs, whether it's for your cars, your pickups, your SUVs, or your horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. For your cars, don't forget to check on the Ultra Z900. Ooh, outstanding tread life, smooth, quiet ride. And don't forget the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, all there for you. Batteries, you name it, at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome. Of course, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Going to take a break for 6 minutes. Come back, Chamber Report at 9:06. See you then. Stay tuned. I like that boogie music. You betcha, a little toe tapping right there. Good morning, Zeb at the Ranch. Welcome back, and I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and really, really nice people, too. Along with some of our great advertisers, and we're going to mention those real quick. Of course, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Really good folks. Knocked my microphone off just a few minutes ago and had to re-put everything on my desk. Now we have it all straightened out. And I want to remind you, too, about our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary, Joel Heward and his staff. With very flexible hours, they are there when you need them. Hey, listen, believe me, if you can't make it in to visit with them at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert, please call them at 436-5636, and they can travel to rural towns and churches to meet with you and get all the arrangements taken care of. Their staff is always committed to highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity, so please call them today. 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you and your family. Well, it is Thursday, and that means we get to travel over the river and through the little bit of woods to the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Good morning, Kay Cameron. How are you?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
Fantabulous. What is going on in the world of Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce coming up on a big Memorial Day weekend? What else is going on?
Well, we are just so thrilled that we could order up the perfect Chamber of Commerce weekend for the big Memorial Day weekend. So you're welcome. I'll take full credit for the beautiful weather that we're going to have.
Oh, my goodness. It's going to be really, really nice. And
we're excited. Today is our Ag Committee meeting. We have an Ag Committee that's been pretty active in the last couple of years, and we get together once a month and discuss relevant issues, agricultural issues that face us here in the Minnecasia area. So we're very excited to have another fabulous meeting today.
All right, now what about looking into the crystal ball of the future for the next couple of weeks going into the month of June? What's cooking?
Well, here in our community, we are so blessed to have so many wonderful activities. There's so many things that are going on in the month of June and into July, and I can't even begin to start to name them all because there really is a lot of activities. So just pay attention to our community calendar and look and see what's going on. But I just want to say I was in a meeting yesterday about tourism in our community, and we are so lucky that we have so many great opportunities. And I know it's camping season. Weekend kickoff is this weekend, and so that's very exciting for all of you listeners out there that are going camping. Be safe, have fun. Also, you might want to check and make sure that your favorite camping spots are open. Most of them are open, but I also know that Baumgartner Campground is still closed. It will remain closed until further notice. It was heavily affected by a big fire last year, and it is not safe. So if anybody's planning to go camping there, you'll need to make other arrangements. And I know that some people get upset because the Forest Service closes certain areas, but, that really is for the safety of the people in the area. They've got big rocks that are rolling down when the rains come and various things. And so when that is safe, they will reopen those areas. But be safe, have fun camping, and enjoy the beautiful weather that we're going to have.
Wow, you ought to work for the Chamber of Commerce. That was a great ad.
Well, thank you. No, we really want people to be safe. I know school's we've got one more week of school, but everybody gets the long weekend, and there's many activities going on, and I know it's also one of the most dangerous weekends to drive because a lot of accidents do happen, and so be safe. Pay attention as you drive. And don't drink and drive, but have fun and enjoy the long weekend.
I'll tell you what, while you have the opportunity, tell everybody how they can contact the Chamber of Commerce office if they have questions.
Give us a call at 208-679-4793. Stop by and see us. We have a beautiful office, a nice little gift shop right here on the beautiful Snake River. We're located at 1177 7th Street in Hayburn. Find us on the internet at minicasualchamber.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Kay, it's always a pleasure. Have a great weekend. Enjoy, and we'll talk to you next Thursday. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a great weekend.
You bet. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Kay Cameron with the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce, and there is a ton of things to do right here in southern Idaho. Hey, don't forget Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Oh, boy, there's summer hours. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and they've got all their power equipment on sale. On sale! Now's the time to buy a new generator, and Let's Ride has a lot of varieties to choose from. And they got the Can-Am side-by-sides. Oh, boy, rebates and great financing and dirt bikes and all the ATVs, everything. I mean, get outside and enjoy. Go where the fun is. So Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. You stop in and see those really good folks today, okay? How's your garden growing? Well, I'll tell you what, we're now going to go over to Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. And our next show is called Gardening for Idiots, named after me. But I'll tell you what, we have the lovely Miss Vicky, and she's going to tell us all about what we should be doing with our gardening right now. Good morning, Vicky. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How we doing?
Not too bad. Now, gardening in May, just to let you know that I've done a little bit of my homework, warmer temperatures and changing to even warmer temperatures is going to make the garden and the weeds and everything else grow. Where should people be on their gardens right now going into Memorial Day?
Well, a lot of people are just getting a good start on their gardens because they've been afraid of this weather. And, a lot of people wait till after Memorial Day because we usually get some kind of crappy weather over Memorial Day. So, nobody's behind. I mean, if anybody's thinking they are, they're not. They're not behind at all on their gardens. But a lot of people have got their peas and stuff up, radishes, lettuce, all those kind of things are probably up in some of the people that have the early gardens. But it's just a good time to get started right now. You can pretty much plant anything and everything right now.
Okay. What about the fertilizers? Let's talk a little bit about getting the ground ready if they're running late and they're going to spend a whole bunch of time this weekend. What about fertilizers for the garden?
Well, I always recommend some good compost in the garden because it's a real good soil additive. It just makes really healthy soil. You get a little phosphate value out of it, but it basically just makes the soil a lot nicer, a lot better. So I recommend getting that. If you haven't tilled your garden yet, till it in with some compost in it, because that makes it a lot better. As far as fertilizer goes, you want to use a good garden fertilizer, which is going to be a lower nitrogen, higher phosphate, like 11, 15, 11. Those are your numbers on the front of your fertilizers. First number is nitrogen, second number is phosphate, third number is potassium and trace minerals. So you want the middle number higher because you're wanting fruits and vegetables and flowers and that type of thing. Mm-hmm. That's what the phosphate does, is produces a really heavy root system, and it produces a lot of flowers and a lot of fruits and vegetables. So that's the key thing to the fertilizers for the gardens and for flower beds and that type of thing.
Now, Vicki, I would imagine that with the warmer temperatures, the bugs and the pests are coming out, whether it's the aphids, whether it's the worms, whether it's whatever. What about taking care of the pests?
Well, we are going to start seeing, I've been noticing a few of the aphids starting, warming up enough to where they're going to get started on us, and there's different ways of controlling those. There's a lot of different chemicals, and I recommend when you're spraying in your yard for like your fruit trees or your garden or whatever, don't use just one spray all summer long because they learn to get used to it. So rotate out with at least 2 sprays, and that way you get a broader kill when you're going. They still have left us with 7. Carbaryl is the chemical name for it. But we still have 7 around. I don't know for how long, but we still have it. And we have a product that's called Spinosad that is almost an organic, and it's an excellent insecticide for fruit trees, vegetables, roses. It's just a broad spectrum type insecticide that is a very safe one and a real good one. It's one of the ones that I use a lot here at the store.
Let me ask you a question right there. I think you were starting to allude to another topic, and I'd really like you to comment on it. Is the EPA really shutting down gardening materials, and are they becoming increasingly tough to find something that will get rid of pests?
Well, they are. Anything that has we used to have Durasban, that was a great chemical. We used to have Chloridane, that was another great one. They took all those off because they worked really well. And I guess somewhere along the line somebody must have got hurt using them. I don't understand why 1 or 2 people can rule everybody, but I guess they do. And anyhow, they've taken Diazinon off. That was a good product. I know that it's in the works to take 7 off the market because it has a longer acting longevity to it. So they think that it's a little more dangerous or something. So they've got us back to pyrethroids and pyrethrins, which only last about 2 days, 2 to 3 days. So that's where they're going to, is the more safe type of a chemical that doesn't have the longevity to it and doesn't really do that good of a job as far as I'm concerned. It's just not strong enough. You just have to. You're going to be spraying instead of being able to spray every 7 to 10 days and keep control of the bugs, you're going to be spraying about every 3 days.
Yeah, but Vicki, with the infestation of insects and pests into the garden, or for that matter, into our food, crops, etc., how in the world are we going to raise crops in any kind of multitude, whether it's farming or whether it's a garden project, unless the pests are going to take over? We can't control them. What are we going to do?
Well, that's just the problem. I mean, the farmers have still got a little leverage on it because they're certified. They go and take classes, and so they can get into the heavier chemicals to take care of their farms and stuff, but they have to be licensed, But the over-the-counter stuff for just the average gardener and that, they're just trying to make it so safe for everyone because there are people that don't read labels, that don't pay attention to what they're supposed to do, and spray it in their face or spray it in their eyes or spray it on their kids or whatever. And then we pay the price for it as gardeners, because then it's like, oh, it's not safe. It injured someone, so we've got to take that one off the market.
Mm-hmm.
The farmers can still use the good products because they are licensed, and they take classes, and they have to keep their classes up, so they can still use the hard product, the heavier products. So, I mean, our overall deal, they're working on the farmers, but they still haven't got it to the point where they don't have the good chemicals that can keep the bugs and stuff off the product. So I'm not too worried about the long-term food chain, but the gardener is going to have to really rely on ladybugs and praying mantids and a lot of help from dish soap or whatever, because they're taking everything away from the gardener so that no one can get hurt.
Okay. Now, a lot of times we spend every program on gardening, but also with gardening is landscaping. And you over at Vicky's Country Garden have got all the landscaping necessities to really help improve the looks of their property, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We've got all kinds of weed mats to help put down in your landscape projects to keep the weeds from growing. You can, the water goes through it, the plants do fine in it. Plus, it keeps the weeds from growing, and it keeps your rocks and that from working down into the dirt. And we've got all different sizes. You can buy it by the foot, you can buy it by the roll, whichever way. We've got all the bark products. We've got rock ends for to do landscaping projects with, and we've got all the chemicals that you need to put down, the bone meal and all that kind of stuff when you're planting to put down with your shrubs and that. And we've got some good supply of grasses and some of the shrubs and for our ornamental trees and those type of things to put in your landscape. So, we can help you design it if you need it. Bring us in a picture or a diagram, and we'll sit down with you and see if we can't help you figure out what'll go where and what'll work where you want it to go.
Okay.
That's the whole key right there. Is putting something in the right place. It needs shade, put it in shade. Don't stick it out in the hot sun and the hot wind, because it's not going to do good.
Well, absolutely. Now, what about all the garden seeds? You've got everything over there that they could possibly need at Vicky's Country Gardens, 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Is that right?
We do. We have all the bulk seeds. We have the biggest bulk seed selection, I believe, from Ontario, Oregon to Logan, Utah.
And the sweetest, nicest, most congenial owner that could ever own a garden country store, right?
Well, I work at it. You're the one doing the talking. I try to be. There's days that I know I get a little testy, but I've always got time to take time and help someone with a problem, or to help them figure out their garden or their yard or whatever. So.
Hey, and by the way, I want to stress the fact, too, that over at Vicky's Country Gardens, you also have gift certificates available so that people can give gifts to the hard person to buy for at Vicky's Country Garden, right?
Oh, yeah, we do a lot of gift certificates here. Everybody, there's a lot of people use them for funeral gifts, for all types, new homes, all that kind of thing. And so, yeah, we do have all that. And we've also got the pond. We can help you take care of your pond and things like that, too. We've got chemicals for that. And I'm trying to find some pond plants. I'm having a little problem with that right now. My main suppliers have quit me, but I've got a new one that I'm about to set up with, so I should have a few pond plants in and some floaters in here within the next week to 10 days.
All right, those good old floaters. Last year she told me that I should come over and jump in the water tank. She needed some floaters, so I said, no thanks. Anyhow. Vicki, God bless you. Have a good day, and we'll look forward to next Thursday. Thank you so much.
All right, have a safe Memorial Day, everybody.
Thank you. Vicky's Country Garden with the lovely Miss Vicki at 185 South, 600 West of Paul, and the number 438-5663. Vicky's Country Gardens, and the program, Gardening for Idiots, named after me. Oh, my goodness, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, and life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. You don't want to put these on the back burner and say, well, we'll get to it next week. No. Take care of it now. Give them a call at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Dean and Todd are very dedicated and responsive to your needs at Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 in Rupert. That number again, 436-4424. Holy cow, where'd all these dogs come from anyway?
Who let the dogs out?
we got them all over the place. We got a Dachshund over there. We got a St. Bernard over there. Great big Rottweilers. My goodness sakes, who let the dogs out? Minidoka Animal Control. Normally every week at this time with Ken Mort, but Gina's going to fill in. And where is Mr. Mort?
Actually, I do believe he is at a animal control seminar in Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's gathering dogs up in Florida?
No, it's just a seminar training.
I see.
Like
I see.
Yeah.
So you are going to tell us all about some dogs and kitty cats, right?
Well, at least dogs anyway. They
Okay.
don't have cats available at the Minidoka Animal Shelter, but they do have plenty of dogs up for adoption. And the one we're going to feature today, her name is Talia. She's a female blue-red heeler cross. She's approximately a year old. Very friendly. She loves to be around people. She was dumped out at the animal shelter a while back, and she's got all of her shots. She's been wormed, and she will be available up for adoption coming up on next Wednesday. And if you know anything about these dogs, they are very good cattle dogs. So if you're looking for somebody to help you out with rounding up your cattle, just being an all-around great farm dog, these are the ones. And she is a beautiful, beautiful female. And of course, if you want to check out her picture, it is up on Zeb's Facebook page. Just go to zebbell.com, scroll down, and you will see her picture. She's beautiful.
Talia is the name, right?
Talia.
Okay. And anything else about the dogs at the animal shelter that you want to tell us about today?
Well, they have actually quite a few dogs available. They have also got the one that we featured last week, and that was, what was his name again? I'm bringing up his picture.
It was a real masculine name, and I can't remember it.
It was Dutch.
Dutch.
He is a brindle in mix, and he is a bull terrier shepherd cross. He's about 18 months old, so he's very, very trainable, well-mannered, loves toys, loves to ride in the car. So if you are looking for an everyday companion to go with you everywhere, this is the guy. He was a stray. He is available. He's up for adoption and at the shelter. And if you want to check out any one of the dogs, maybe just take him out for a walk or whatever, you can always get a hold of the shelter at 438-2200. And which, by the way, they are still taking donations for bedding, for blankets, for dog food, or if you just want to come and help out and walk the dogs, they're always a very accepting of volunteers.
You know, my biggest problem is I could not do the job that Ken Mort does, because I'll tell you why. I could never part with one of those dogs.
I know. I would want to keep them all. And if you know me, I seem to collect animals. They find me, and then I just want to keep them all. And so I don't think I could do that job either. I'm such an animal lover.
You know what my wife did last night?
What did she do?
She found out that this big old hard heart, wooden heart of mine is not so hard and impenetrable as she thought it was. One of the cats out in the barn cats, had a bunch of kittens, okay? And like seven of them. And they're laying in a great big fur ball, and they got their eyes open, and they looked up, and she says, "Here, hold one of the cats." Now, I don't personally like cats. But you know what? Here she picks up this little black one with long hair, and it looks at me like, "Hello there, human being. How are you? Welcome to my world." And I got to admit, it kind of just melted my big old heart.
Oh, kittens are so cute. And, cats are very, very independent. Trust me, I have 4 of them.
Yeah.
And cats are very independent, but they will, when they're ready for love, they're going to come up, they'll love on you, they'll purr, they'll sit in your lap. They're just all-around great companions. And they have, each one of them, total different personalities.
Well, this one laid in the palm of my hand, and it purred. Its engine was running at about 9,000 RPMs. And then when Deanne said, "Well, I'll put them back now," then it reached out its claws on all 4 feet and dragged them across the top of my hand so that I can envision them again today, even through the blood-stained part of my wrist. I love those little cats.
Well, Well, that little one just didn't want to let go of you. It got attached.
Literally. Yes,
so
sir.
Let me ask you this. Do you actually supply cat food? You just, take cat food out into the barn and just let them have at it?
Yep, Goober takes out a 5-gallon bucket, I think, every day, and boy, we've got every cat in the neighborhood. I think they got a cell phone, and I think the ones out in the barn call the others and say, "Hey, the homeowner's here with a bucket of food. Come on over."
I have a cat who's like that. That's Thomas. He brings over all of his stray friends so they can eat.
Well, I tell you what, I don't mind at all. We've had a mouse problem here last year, and a vole problem. I think I talked to you about the vole problem.
Yeah.
And so we are welcoming a new herd of cats to make sure the problem is going to be taken care of this year.
Well, once mice and moles figure out that the cat's around, they shall disappear.
I'm looking forward to it. Hey, thanks for a great job, Minidoka Animal Control, normally with Ken Mort. Gina did a great job. Who let the dogs out anyway?
Dogs out!
Oh, my. Ken will be with us next week, back from Florida, probably all tanned up from laying on the beach, and we'll look forward to that. Hey, I made a mistake. Not a mistake. I just goofed and forgot, but last night, I should say, on Wednesday, last evening was the start of the Jerome County Fair team roping with my dear friend Dave Zanino. Dave called me up, and he's just had tears in his eyes, and he says, "How come you forgot about me?" And I forgot. I mean, I'm old and I'm stupid sometimes. Anyway, they had their first roping last night at the Jerome County Fairgrounds, and it's a weekly team roping. Sign up at 6:30, rope at 7, 3 for $20 draw pot. And for more information, call my dear friend Dave Zanino at 431-1263. And all of this takes place every Wednesday night at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Okay. Good morning to Rita Ramsey. I believe you're on the line. How are you this morning?
I'm very good.
Well, that's just fine and dandy. What's happening in your world this morning, Rita?
Oh, I'm ready to head for the bunker.
Oh, now you're Miss Positive Thinking.
Well, I just have this feeling that Americans aren't awake and we can't save America. I just have this horrible feeling that we can't save America.
Okay, let's delve into this problem a little bit. And like if I were a psychiatrist, I'd say, come in, Mrs. Ramsey, sit down in that chair comfortably. Would you like a cup of tea and a crumpet? And now, sit back and tell me, why do you feel that the world is coming apart at the seams?
Well, one of the first things is, I got a thing, and I don't think this is like brandly new, but I just barely got my hands on it. And what it is a warning label on the U.S. Constitution.
Uh-huh.
And these little books, these little paperback copies that are being distributed and sold among some, sometimes it's mainly for, like in the schools, when they decide they're going to do something big for Constitution Day, and they purchase these little constitutions so they can give one out to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And on the front of it, it says, this book is a product of its time and does not reflect the same values as it would if it were written today.
Oh, my goodness.
Wish to discuss with their children how views on race, gender, sexuality, ethnicity, and interpersonal relations have changed since this book was written, before allowing them to read this classic work.
Now, who and what organization did that?
This actually has a copyright of Wilder Publications, 2008 on it, and this was found at Cato, the Cato Institute.
Would you, if you get a chance, send me a copy of that, and I'm going to do some checking on that, and I'm going to call back east to some of the think tanks I work with, and I'm going to develop a segment on that, because I'm very concerned about what you just read.
Well, it really concerns me a lot, because we as Americans don't really know the Constitution near as well as we should.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're passing these constitutions out to kids in school or to parents to, okay, we're going to give you this, but you take this home to your parent first, and by the way, you need to explain all of this stuff, because really the Constitution isn't, it wasn't written today, so it can't really reflect on things for today. The people fail to realize that the reason that we have the Constitution isn't to tell us what we can do. It's to tell us what our government can't do.
That's exactly right.
As soon as we start realizing that and studying up on it, we'll find out that that's where our freedom comes from, is knowing the Constitution and knowing what the government can't actually do.
Well, Rita, let me interrupt for a minute, and now I know what you're talking about this morning, but in the last couple of weeks, I've done some study and some research on various schools around the country, universities, Rutgers, Berkeley. There's been quite a few of the various schools that have purported to put out a notice to the school students saying, beware, there is something you should be concerned about and something that might trigger a psychological response, and they're calling these psycho triggers, and they're trying to get students aware and think that they're not adult enough or man enough or woman enough to accept the material, and that's what you have right there is one of those psychological triggers.
Oh, absolutely. When a parent reads this, they're going to start going, oh my goodness. And a lot of parents, I'm not saying they don't have good sense, but all of a sudden, just like you said, this trigger thing, they'll see something like that and go, oh my word, we better hide this. But I'm not ready to have this discussion with my kids, so I'll just toss it in the corner of the desk here, and we'll talk about it later. And then, first of all, nobody gets the information about the Constitution. But, people would need to discount this and say, oh, my heavens, somebody's trying to undermine things.
Well, Rita, and one of the things that is really coming to my attention is that there's a group around the United States right now that's trying to do that with the Bible.
Oh, absolutely. It's really sad when there are other people out there, and usually they're quite a small group considerably compared to those of us that use common sense and who believe in values, and we believe in America, and we understand that the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, and various other things like that. But these little groups, they'll go out there and they'll just get doing things, and pretty soon they make the news, and the news will pick up on them, and they want the common sense things, and it's out of control, and they'll get things passed in Congress and in the Senates and in the houses of their various states, and nobody's the wiser for it.
Rita, one of the things I wanted to talk to you about this morning, and I know that you study the news, and I know that you've studied this problem. Our veterans are being subjected to less than even second-class care. And now it's been found at 26 different locations around the United States that they have been receiving far, far less than what they were promised on their benefits, and there have been many, many suicides because of that lack of care. Our president yesterday stood up and said his famous trigger words again, as he has with Benghazi, as he has with the IRS scandal, as he has with any scandal, and he kept using the words held people accountable, responsible, people will be brought to justice, none of which ever happens. It's just lip service with this president, and I think the same thing is going to happen with the VA scandal. Nothing will be done with Obama.
Well, it's really sad, and unless we as Americans stand up, and I'm not talking about just the veterans standing up and making a point about it, it's going to have to be all of us. We're going to have to get a big telephone turning thing where we get a hold of our representatives and our senators and tell them, you have got to start leaning on getting something done with this. A lady had called in earlier this morning, and she said that Marcus Luttrell had said that, everybody needs to get a card. Well, there was one other thing that he said that needs to be reiterated, and that is that he said make U.S. senators go through the VA to get their medical care, and we'll see how fast things change.
You know, that's true. That's really true. But this mess with the VA, and for the president to stand up there and back Secretary of the VA Shinseki and say that he's doing a great job and just basically give lip service. Some of the other comments that he made, my lovely wife sat there and listened to everything and said that he's been working on the problem to fix the problems. Tell me one thing that he's done about the VA since he's taken over as president.
Well, I don't really know, but I will give you an example of what happens to a military leader when some things start going awry in under him. And that is, remember when we had Abu Ghraib and how the guy who was the military leader over that particular group, he lost his job. Mm-hmm. Over some stupid little thing like that Abu Ghraib thing, which was not what it portrayed to be. We thought it was a big deal, and it wasn't. But I've seen a number of different military people on the news over the last week or so saying, you know what, when a colonel has somebody under him do something wrong or something goes awry, he's the one who's responsible for it, not necessarily that individual. But those things, if things happen and he doesn't know anything about it, he is still responsible. And so I feel like they do that, you know what, he's a 4-star general or whatever. This is under his stead. He should be responsible for it, and he needs to be sent down the road and have somebody take up and go through and start cleaning house. But that will never happen because we have an administration who does not believe in accountability or personal responsibility.
I agree. Let me ask you this, and I've been talking about this for the last couple of days. The 911 Museum. I said earlier this morning that I believe it should be and be remained as a very sacred place, a quiet place, a very contemplative place. And it seems like the whole thing has been turned into a carnival atmosphere, with former New York Mayor Bloomberg using it for a black tie cocktail party the other evening. It's right on top, Rita, of the remains of thousands of people that died during 9/11. Am I wrong that this shouldn't be a carnival?
No, you're not wrong. And have you ever been to Gettysburg?
I have not. That is one place in the United States that I absolutely, it's on my bucket list. I want to go to and attend.
Well, we went to Gettysburg several years ago. And when we were out there, and first of all, there's a place that you can take a bus tour, and then you can stop at various different places and spend the time that you want, or you can drive, because there's actually, it's like a cemetery, isn't it? It has kind of a small paved road so that you can actually drive your vehicles around it. And of course, I don't know exactly how many miles it encompasses, a number of miles probably, but anyway, there are these big, whatever you would want to call them. They're not necessarily headstones, but they're kind of monuments, I would guess, at various different ones for each state that lost soldiers at Gettysburg. And we went on the tour so that they kind of gave us all the history on it and everything. And then we got our car that we had rented, and we kind of drove through, and we stopped at the various different monuments, and we read what it had to say and everything. And you could not help but feel that ground was hallowed by all of the sacrifice and the people who had given up their lives for a noble effort. And it would have to be the same thing at 9/11, when on 9/11 that happened. And this area where they've done this is a big monument in memory of those who lost their lives, but to remind us that, there are other people out there that hate us, and for it to be anything other than a cemetery, basically, just boggles my mind. And it's sad to think that people don't think, you know what, we're going to go in here and we're going to kind of whisper and we're going to be respectful. And
yes.
We'll give the history and you can learn it, and there's somebody on hand to answer questions, but we're not going to make a circus out of it.
Yeah, Rita, in accordance with that, being very humble and very quiet and treating it as a very sacred place, I'm just appalled that with political correctness in this world, especially for the Muslims and the Islamic jihadists that want to kill us, they almost scourged and purged any word in the memorial that had anything to do with jihad, that had anything to do with terrorism or Muslims. And there is one plaque that mentions the word jihad, and a person tried to take a cell phone picture of it, and one of the people working there said, now, please do not take that picture, and because you may cause a lot of problems and it might embarrass someone. Why in the world, and I cannot understand this, are we afraid of speaking out against Muslim jihadists, Muslim terrorists, and telling it like it is?
Well, this is what our country and probably even around the world has come to, is that when it fits your agenda, you can stop people from speaking or having any liberties or their freedom, and it's okay. It doesn't matter if you do that, and there's only certain things that you can do that with, because you and I can't say what we want to out in public without being taken to task over it. But boy, somebody else could say all kinds of stuff and it wouldn't matter. And it just depends on the topic and who it is that's doing the censoring. Just to make my point, I got a nasty letter from somebody and they sent it to my house. I don't know who it is. They didn't have the courage to sign it, and told me that I was a right-winger and, basically scolding me over trying to encourage the people to become knowledgeable about the candidates and to vote. Mm-hmm. And then I got credit for, they said, thank you for putting the thing in the News Journal with all of the names checked off of who we shouldn't vote for, and just kind of made a big deal about it. Well, I didn't take out the thing in the News Journal, but, they don't want me to encourage people to become informed about the things that are going on and make an informed decision. But yet, they could call up and, tell me I had no right to say it. And it's kind of like, well, hello. You can tell me I can't say something, but you can probably say whatever you want, right?
Yeah, what you just said is speaking volumes of the word cowardice. You would not believe the amount of emails and letters and notes that I get that are unsigned and no return address. But yet they will do everything they can to call me names, denigrate me, etc. for my viewpoints, and they don't have the courage to stand up for their own convictions. And I know a lot of people say, well, just throw them in the trash. That's not the point. People that will criticize other people, unnamed and unmentioned as far as who they are, they're gutless cowards that should be hauled out on the carpet.
That's absolutely right. And I'm perfectly fine with somebody wanting to criticize me or have some dialogue. Yep. But you know what? If you're going to just throw darts, why don't you at least say who you are and let's talk about it and see if we really are opposing teams, or if you just don't think that I should have the right to say something.
I totally agree.
This was a Republican, and they let me know that they were a proud Republican and that, basically the Tea Party people don't have a voice and shouldn't be saying anything.
Oh, my.
And it's kind of like, well, you know what? The Republican Party needs the Tea Party people to keep them in office. So maybe they need to make their tent a little bit bigger.
Rita, I've got to do a weather forecast. Stand by. I'll be right back with you. I want to talk a little bit, if I could, about the Marine in Mexico. So stand by. Don't forget, the weather is brought to you this hour by Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Ryan and the rest of the crew with all the best of guns and ammo and accessories. A lot of used guns. They've got super buys on those. Please stop in and see them today at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Number to call, 733-3546. Here now is Michael Rogers with the weather.
Hi, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Sunny all the way across the board through the weekend. Temperatures as low is the middle 70s, and you can see possibly daytime highs in the mid 80s all the way across the board. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the weather. I'll see you Monday. It's the only weather you got.
All right, thank you very much, Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. The best of guns, ammo, and accessories at Red's Trading Post. Rita, a Marine was home and took a wrong turn at Tijuana. And I'm not going to lengthen the story. I'm going to keep it as brief as possible. He was arrested. He had his own personal guns in his vehicle, and I saw Greta Van Susteren the other night, and from the route that he took leaving Tijuana, it would appear that he was on the right road, but it was the wrong road that actually took him deeper into Mexico. He admitted to the arresting officers that he had the weapons in his car. He didn't try to hide anything. He was very forthright and honest. He's been in jail down in Mexico for over a month. Our administration, John Kerry, etc., not doing anything to get him out. Now, tying that in also to Pastor Abedini over in Iran, American citizens are not protected by our own government with demands to let them go. But at the same time, this administration will let uncountable numbers into the thousands, going into the millions, cross our borders, and nothing is said. I'm highly offended by the stupidity of this administration.
Well, the big problem is that we haven't got our priorities straight. You know, if they were really interested in doing what needed to be done, we would have resolved the deal with Pastor Abedini, and there would be somebody, as we speak, bringing that Marine back home because we put a little bit of leverage against the Mexican government. And all it takes is some senators to have some fortitude and go in and do what needs to be done. You know, there can be this great big thing, and I feel really bad for all of those little Christian girls down in
Nigeria,
and what's happened there, and how the United States needs to make it its policy to help and do something. And I firmly believe that we should be trying to do anything that we could if we could. But you know what? We're just showing that we do leave our soldiers behind. When we're not going after and helping the cause, when we have Americans that are abroad in different countries that have been detained for one reason or the other, and especially if there's not just cause. This poor Marine, there should have been the senators from California, the senators from his home state, and then the senators who were on the committee for the veterans. They should all be, you know, up in arms about this and saying, well, you know what, Mr. President, if you're not going to do something, we will, and then we'll let everybody know that you refuse to do something, to where it's like, hey, I guess the president would be saying, I guess I better do something. I don't want any bad publicity on me. I mean, he hates bad publicity on him. So, you know, there's ways that it could be done, but it's like Washington has no fortitude. Now, I'm not sure who all's working on it. I do know that Duncan Hunter from California is working on trying to do something, but, you know, he's a congressman, and he doesn't have near as loud a voice as a number of other senators who could help together with him.
Rita, real quick, I've got about a minute left. The Tea Party, what's going on? Meetings, anything coming up for the summer? What do you want to talk about quickly?
Well, we're going to be having our regular meetings as usual. They're the second Thursday, and we hold them at the City of Burley. And we're going to basically just try to get people informed. One thing that we'd like to really do a little bit of investigating on and helping people get to know is the information which is behind the green mask, you know, about the Agenda 21 stuff, and the different things where that is intertwined with our governments and taking away our freedom, and how we're really hooked up to the UN. But we're gonna have speakers and stuff, and we'll be having our next meeting in June. So I'll let you know what the actual meeting is here in the next few weeks.
Let me give you a quick question here, short answer on this, real short answer. The couple in Wyoming, the Johnsons, I'm working on getting them on the air this next week. Hopefully, they were the ones that built that pond on their small farm, and the EPA's coming in and threatening them with a $75,000 a day fine. Quickly, give me your thoughts on that case.
I think that we need to band together with people like that and say we need to get rid of the EPA. And, you know, Mike Simpson's on that committee, and we ought to give him a call and say, hey, how come you're letting them out of control like this, Mr. Simpson? You're proud that you're on the EPA. Now we expect you to do something.
I agree. Rita, always a pleasure to have you on the air. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Okay, thanks, Zeb. Have a good one.
Thank
Bye.
you too. Rita Ramsey, and I always look forward to having her on the program with me on Thursday. She is a lady that has a lot of opinions, and I really like to listen to her on Zeb at the Ranch. Thank you very much. Well, you know, it's Thursday. It's going on 10 o'clock, and you know that I eat my breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm hungry and starving to death. I know some great places to go. How about Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland Avenue in Burley? They've got that southern baked burrito, either soft shell or grilled shell, chicken or steak made a special way that just good old Kip knows about. Kip is better known as Chef Boyardee Burrito. He knows what's going on over there at Taco Bandito. You better believe it with the Bandito burritos, the Mexican pizzas, the chicken strip baskets, everything at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. How about Burgers Etc., 124 South Oneida in Rupert, and another location at 700 North Overland in Burley. Two great locations for all your cheeseburgers and your hamburgers and your salads and your snacks and your desserts. And, oh, by the way, the Burley location every Sunday has a shrimp dinner special. And don't forget now they've got at all locations of Burgers Etc. the fresh strawberry shakes. Oh, they are home runs. In Rupert and Burley, remember, it's Burgers Etc. Now let's move on over to Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Food made the way you like it. And they had their French fries voted the best in Mini-Cache area. Fresh hand-cut French fries, either steak fries or regular fries. Oh, my. And hand-patted hamburger patties made daily with love. And here's one I always like. Pork chops with salad and choice of potatoes. That is a super special. They've got friendly servers, dedicated staff. They're open Monday through Saturday, closed on Sundays. Steve-O's over in Hayburn. Now, let's not forget Duck Uglies. I love that name, Duck Uglies. 163 West Highway 30 in Burley, right next to Berry Equipment and Rental. And they've got ribeye steaks and New York steaks and battered cod and pita bread sandwiches and Philly cheesesteak sandwiches. Oh, it's fantabulous. You're going to love it. And believe me, Duck Uglies is kid and family friendly in a non-smoking environment. Duck Uglies, 163 West Highway 30 in Burley. And last but not least, in our tour of places to go when you're hungry and starving to death, don't forget the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. They've got kids' baskets. They've got combo meals. They got a 3-piece fish and chips with small fry, only $7 1/4. They've got the ranch burgers, the famous Farmer Brown burgers, and all the shakes and the different flavors. Name a flavor, they can make it at the AC Drive-In. You're going to love the place. Great people working there. AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few great places to go if you're hungry and starving to death. Gina is always hungry and starving to death.
I am. I'm so hungry.
Well, you know, I can look forward to a lunch bunch this noon, and I know that my deal is with Gina that anytime she can come down and enjoy dining with us, we're going to pick up the tab. And it always worries me when I hear how hungry she is, because I think I'll be paying for the national debt.
I never do that to you, and I try and eat kind of sort of healthy.
Don't do it today. Just enjoy your life.
I am gonna, and of course, yes, I will be at lunch bunch, so definitely looking forward to it.
Okay, I'll tell you what, next hour we have got all kinds of things. We've got a little meeting on the phone with our friends at Lee's Furniture, and then we've got Cassia County School Days. Today our guest is going to be Superintendent Galen Smyer. Then we're going to be talking to the manager-owner of Denny's. Thomas is going to be on the air. And then at 10:30 we're going to talk a little bit about racism and how everybody everybody on the left wants to call everybody on the right a racist. And then I'm going to boogie for Lunch Bunch, and then Gina's going to come on down. So that's the rest of our morning. Right now we're going to turn it back over to the main studios, and Gina's going to take some music up to news time from ABC. We'll be back in 6. Zeb at the Ranch. Oh, welcome back, Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday before Memorial Day weekend. May I stress that I want everybody to please drive careful out there. Be really, really careful this weekend, and we want you all back here on next Tuesday. We won't have a show on Monday. Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers. We're going to be talking to Lee's Furniture here in just a few moments at 459 Overland and Burley, and also our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Say, don't forget the Chadwick Sports Grill. Are you hungry right now? Well, think about lunch over there at the Chadwick with creamy chicken enchiladas. Ho ho! Ole, ole! With Spanish rice and super salad. Gonna be great. Creamy chicken enchiladas at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and enjoy lunch today. Right now, let's head on down to Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and they have got a great big Memorial Day sale planned. And here, ladies and gentlemen, the king of all furniture sales, here is Mr. Brent Lee.
Hey, Zeb, it's Jason Lee today.
They did it to me again. I was all prepared, and then all of a sudden somebody jerked the carpet out from underneath me. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
Good morning. We just like to change it up on you, that's all.
Attaboy. Hey, listen, what's happening over there for this great big 36-hour Memorial Day sale?
You know what, to start off, Zeb, along with you, we'd like to wish everyone safe travel as many people are headed out on the Memorial Day weekend. But for those who are going to be around, we've got this 36-hour sale going on. Just a short time here, outstanding buys we've got in our floor covering. We've got Smart Strand starting at just $8.95 a square yard. We've got the fiberglass backed vinyl, the floating floor glueless vinyl at only $7.95. These are a bunch of roll specials that we've recently got in. We've got our living room furniture, group packaging, 14 pieces, only $9.99. Sofa Love sets at $6.99. We've got a lot going on. Dining room sets, we've got many of those dining rooms, bar stools marked up to 50% off. Sofas, sectionals marked up to 40% off. Entertainment, occasional tables up to 50% off. And then, of course, our bedroom collections. We got many new bedroom collections. Some we don't even have room to set up. We've tried to get them out on the floor, but even those are marked up to 40% off, all for this Memorial Day 36-hour sale.
Wow. I mean, for 36 hours, it's going to be save money and enjoy some great furniture and carpet buys. Holy cow. Tell us a little bit about some of the accessories, too, that are on sale. You've got everything from lamps. You got it all, don't you?
We sure do. Lamps, clocks, a lot of candle holders, things like that, kind of those little things that help spruce up rooms. Buy the first one, get the second one at half off right now during this sale. We've got the Flexsteel recliners, we've got the Lane recliners, Southern Motion, Ashley, all these different choices to choose from, all up to 50% off as well. Don't forget, we do have special no-interest financing for 15 months, and that actually runs through the end of the month. The sale, the Memorial Day sale, will run through Monday, and we will be open from 10 to 4 on Monday. So right now, come take advantage of the great sales, plus the 15 months no-interest financing.
Wow, you do a great job. Jason, I appreciate it. On behalf of Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland and Burley, I want to stress to you and the entire family and the entire staff, have a great Memorial Day weekend, and we'll talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. Our friends at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Really, really nice people. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we're getting all set for our school days in Cassia County, and we're very, very blessed on this program to have two wonderful sponsors for our school days in Cassia County. First off, A Child's World at 1308 Overland Avenue in Burley. Are you taking a road trip? Well, you need fun activities to do along the way, and the kids are going to be along with you, and they've got all the family games and the puzzles, and they've got everything over there you could possibly need for maybe fun in the car as they're traveling down the highways and byways. And don't forget, too, they've got all the cool summer dresses over there, and enjoy their spring 20% off on your total purchase sale at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also our thanks go out to the Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Drive in Burley. Number to call, and remember, 677-8888. Over 100 outpatient surgeries are performed at the Ambulatory Surgery Center in Burley every single month, saving people hundreds of dollars and receiving friendly and outstanding care. Write this number down and remember it, 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center, 1344 Highland Drive in Burley, along with A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, bringing you school days in Cassia County. And right now we have the Superintendent of Schools for Cassia County, Mr. Galen Smyer, on the line. Good morning, Galen. Good to have you on the program.
I couldn't get a hold of him.
Oh, really?
No, and he didn't call.
Oh, well, I'll let you pretend that you're Galen Smyer.
Well, good morning, Mr. Zebellin. How are we doing today?
Nervous.
Me too.
You know, I got a feeling that maybe he'll be calling in, hopefully in just a few moments, and maybe, if you wouldn't mind trying that cell phone number again, and Deanne's going to try some other people real quick to see where he is, and then we'll have school days in Cassia County.
That sounds perfect for me.
I was going to ask you, while we have just a little bit of time, and this is going to shoot my next segment right out of the saddle, but what do you think about the NFL relaxing their standards and possibly allowing their players to get involved with marijuana? I want to just hear what your thoughts are.
You know, here's my deal with this. I know it's legalized in quite a few states. People do use it for medical reasons. That's okay. I get that. But for NFL players or any athletic pro player, I don't think that should be allowed. They still have to uphold and keep to the standards so they can play to the highest level possible. Not only that, but they're role models for kids.
Yeah, there you go. Right there, you summed it up. I was hoping you'd hit that because Kennedy, your son, and my grandsons, they look up to these guys. I don't care if it's Peyton Manning. I don't care who it is. They look up to these guys, Aaron Rodgers, etc. And to think that their play or their life outside the football game is tainted, I think, and I'll use the word tainted, by the use of marijuana, I just think it cheapens it up and it makes a sleazier atmosphere for our youngsters.
I agree. What they choose to do after their pro football career or their pro athletic career, hey, that's their call. That is their choice. But while you are playing the game and while you are a role model for our children, and let's face it, fans pay a lot of money to go and see these people play, I don't think it should be acceptable, and I don't think that the NFL should be relaxing their standards on that.
You know, I've been hearing that the ticket prices are going to go up even more, and quite frankly, you can't take a family of 4 to a football game. You'd better be looking at $1,000 bill.
Yeah, it's expensive to go to a pro game, whether it be baseball, football, basketball, what have you. It's expensive. And so I think that the fans are going to expect that these players are going to live up to the standards, not only athletically, but morally while they are playing the game.
These are multi-million-dollar athletes that have basically, when you figure the 30, 20, whatever the amount, $1 million contracts that they have signed, I think that there should be stipulations repercussions of just having to hold them to a higher standard. I'm sick and tired of having some of these crybaby athletes say, well, I'm an adult, I can do this, that, or the other. No, I think that when you're in the public eye like they are, they should have a following of standards that they have to meet, or there's a curtailment of their money or a diminishment of that contract.
I agree, and it's like using performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, those aren't allowed.
Right.
We've got Galen Smyer.
Oh, good. And by the way, Gina, thank you very much for helping me fill there. Ladies and gentlemen, the lost is found. And here now is the superintendent of schools, Galen Smyer. Thank you, Galen, for calling in.
I am so sorry, Zeb. Good morning. I was in a principal's meeting, and we were right in the middle of something, and time got away from me. So
well, it's okay because...
I apologize to you and your listeners. I know that time is precious to you, and I regret taking advantage of that.
No, I tell you what, the only repayment that we have, of course, we have a small rule. You evidently didn't read it on page 13. It says, you will be responsible for 2 steak dinners covered with mushrooms for both Gina and myself.
Okay, we'll get you hooked up.
Galen, I'm glad you called in because in the time remaining, I want to talk a little bit. You've heard it, I've heard it, everybody involved in education has heard it at one time or another. Why do school districts take federal funding? Why don't they just tell the federal government to take a hike? It's not that easy, is it?
It isn't, and please know that there are times when we would love to be able to do that. Sometimes the strings attached are they draft legislation and rules that often pertain to larger districts, Chicago's, the Philadelphia's, the Houston's, and so forth. And their circumstances, situations are very different from Idaho, and particularly rural Idaho. And so they come up with ideas and rules that apply to those circumstances, but they're not applicable to us in all cases, but yet we're still held to that same standard. And so in many cases, they will fund those kind of projects to a certain degree, but nothing is fully funded. You know, and you've talked about it on your program many times, the unfunded mandates that come to us as citizens of the country because of federal expectations. And again, that's painting with a broad brush. Again, trying to address a particular need or an issue that might be in an eastern state. It also applies to us in the West, but we don't have that same problem, but we're expected to conform and comply, and if we don't, they take back the money that we would get from them, and we're expected to do it without any money. And so we really are tied to the federal government in the sense that if there's a rule or an expectation there, whether or not they provide money, we're expected to provide those services or to comply with the law that's been written.
Galen, give us some circumstances or some categories as to where you are basically held accountable by the federal government. Give us some circumstances so the understanding can be made by our listening audience.
Okay, I can speak to one. The Individuals with Disability Education Act changed the way that schools served special need population, special needs students in schools. And it's been a huge improvement, but it requires staff, it requires facilities, and lots of times it requires equipment. Federal government mandated those, and it really is the best thing for students because students are better served because of that than they were previously. And again, that's a broad, generalized statement. But at the same time, federal government says we will fund this. Well, to date, they fund it only to about an 18% level. So the remaining dollars that are required to comply with all the rules and regulations that are set forth, which again are good for kids. I'm not questioning that at all. It's just that those dollars have to come from someplace else. And it's a partially unfunded mandate. And so when we get situations like that, then it falls to us as a district and to our state taxpayers and so forth to be able to make up the difference in those funds to be able to provide the services.
Right. Do you, as a superintendent of schools, and I know you have to walk a fine line there with the dictates or mandates from the federal government, but do you get to the point sometime, you and the school board sitting there thinking that you owe your soul to the company store with the federal government? Doesn't that feeling cross your mind?
It does, and sometimes people will talk about the federal intrusion into our lives, and depending on what aspect of your life you're talking to, but yeah, the decisions oftentimes are not made at the local level or even the state level. We're being dictated to and driven by federal policy. And at times, it's not even the legislation itself, it's the rules that are written in departments after legislation. It's their interpretation of the legislation to put together the rules they think apply. Mm-hmm. And some of those are ridiculous.
Let me interrupt you right there and ask you a question, Galen, right there, if you don't mind my insert. Do they, the federal government, do they ever call and ask school leaders like yourself for input to help develop the program so it's more amenable?
That has happened. We have had aides, and on a couple of occasions, even our representative or congressman will call and talk about a specific issue. But oftentimes it's one of their aides that is working with education policy or so forth. So we do get those kind of calls. But to get a call from the state or the U.S. Department of Education, I don't know, Zeb, whether they pull together groups of people to come in and work as kind of a sounding board for ideas. But in terms of ever getting a call from somebody like that is, what would this mean in your district, or how would this affect students in your district? I've never had an inquiry like that.
Funding for schools and funding for schools projects has got to be, right now, with the economy the way, shape, and form it is, one of the most difficult things in the world to try to accomplish with increasing costs. You must be tearing your hair out every day while you're an administrator of a school district.
Well, the dollars, there's never enough money to do everything we want to do. We unfortunately, there are a lot of things we have to do, and that takes money. And the legislature was able to give us some additional funding this year because the economy is coming back, but we're still behind what we were. And we've got a lot of ground to make up, and so we're not doing some things that we would like to be able to be doing with students in school, and we've shortened our school year and some other things to try to trim budgets, but we're definitely dependent on the dollar, and that's not to say that we've got staff people that are doing a ton of things for which they're not being compensated.
What does the future look like? And I'm almost out of time in this segment, Galen, but as far as federal involvement into other programs for funding for school districts, are they going to be more involved? Are they at a status quo? What's the situation look like over the next 3-5 years?
Well, they're in the process, Zeb, of working for the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act at the federal level. And there's some components in that act that speak to school funding, and it increases some dollars in some areas and reduces them in others. There's also federal legislation, the Carl Perkins Act, that has driven money into professional technical education, which is near and dear to my heart. But so there is a recognition at the federal level that economic growth comes from an educated society and making sure that people have knowledge and skills that they can apply in a professional arena, whether it's as a technician or whether it's as a professional person. That's what's growing the economy, and so they recognize that they've got to have training programs in place, and that hopefully industry will respond. The problem is, I think there are some barriers to industry and others being able to take advantage of those situations because of tax laws and so forth.
Galen, I'm so sorry, but I've just run out of time, and I want to say thank you very much for taking your time. Superintendent of Cassia County Schools, Galen Smyer, a dear friend. Please come back, and we'll do some more question and answers about education and funding. Thank you so much for being on the program this morning.
Thank you, Zeb. And again, my apologies for tardiness.
That's all right. Thank you, Galen. Appreciate it.
Take
and, of
care.
course,
Bye.
School Days in Cassia County are brought to you by A Child's World and Ambulatory Surgery Center. Thank you very much for sponsoring School Days in Cassia County. We're going to go to the phone lines right now, and I'm going to say good morning to a gentleman that we're going to see in about an hour, as a matter of fact, and that's Thomas over at Denny's Restaurant. How are you doing, sir?
I'm getting him on the line right now.
It's my morning to sit there with an inquisitive look on my face. I love this. Denny's Restaurant is the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we're going to be over there. Like I said, I'm going to be running down there in about an hour, and we're going to have Lunch Bunch today. The very best of breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. We have been very, very happy with the treatment and the cordiality that we've had there, and we're going to get Thomas on the line in just a moment and talk to him. He's on the air with us right now. Good morning, Thomas. How are you? Hello, Thomas. Zeb Bell, how are you today?
I'm doing well, and you?
Fantastic. We're going to be over there in about an hour, and I want to reiterate to everybody that Denny's Restaurant, you folks have absolutely rolled out the red carpet for our Zeb's Lunch Bunch and everybody else with the very best of food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. What a menu. Speaking of your menu, I've got to tell you about your menu. I think it's one of the greatest menus. Everything on there delicious. How do you go about picking what you're going to fix for people?
Well, that's a great question, Zeb. We try to keep a big menu because we know we got a lot of different customer, as far as the broad base and customers. And, everybody asks me, have you had everything on the menu? And I said, well, I eat here every day. And I've had it all, and it's all good. I always try to change it up, but, I never get bored of it.
Now, you've got gift cards available, and if somebody wants to give a gift that really is a personalized gift of enjoying a great meal, how do they go about getting the gift cards over at Denny's Restaurant?
Yeah, you just come in and check with us at the front counter, at the register there. Our host can get you set up with a gift card, and, you can put however much you want on it, and they're good at any Denny's location. And, it's a great gift. We have a lot of people over the holidays come in and get them for people, and we also, we've been trying to help out the community, and people call in often, with these Relay for Life races coming up. We've had a lot of people call in, and we've been able to donate those to good causes and for drawings and things like that, and we're always willing to help out in any way in that way as well with those gift cards. So. And
another thing that's really neat is when somebody has a birthday, they can celebrate it at Denny's with a free Grand Slam. Tell us about that.
That's correct. Our Value Slam breakfast is for anybody with a birthday. Come in and let us know it's your birthday and order that Value Slam breakfast, and it's on us. And, our staff love to come and sing a little happy birthday. Or we may not be the best singers, but we claim food is what we're in the business of. So.
Thomas, I got to brag a little bit. Your staff is really comprised of people that care. The service is really great. Brag on your staff a little bit, if you would.
Well, Zeb, we know that in this industry anymore, very competitive, and people love to come out to eat and have a good experience along with a good meal, and so we really make that a focus on making sure that everybody understands that they're welcome, that we do care about the customers because they're who keep us in business, and that's the reason we have jobs, and we enjoy that part of it. We love being out front as management and staff, and making it a positive experience for people. And so we appreciate the positive feedback we've received through your show, and we appreciate if anybody listening did come in on Mother's Day. We were just slammed busy, and I tell you, not a single person with a complaint. Everybody was patient, and people were happy and got their food, and we just had a great day. And so appreciate all that you guys do as a community.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to be hustling and bustling over there in just about an hour at Zeb's Lunch Bunch at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Thomas, thank you for all your hospitality. We'll see you in a little bit, and I'll enjoy a delicious meal.
Seeing you.
Thank you, sir.
Zeb, and just wanted to put a plug in that we are opening our location in Twin Falls this fall, and so keep your eyes out for that. And we have our banners up there on the location on pole line. So.
All right, sir. Well, God's blessings to you, and I'll see you in an hour.
All right, thanks, Zeb.
Thank you. Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. Thomas, the main man over there with an excellent staff, Terry and the crew, and we'll be there for Lunch Bunch today at 11:30. We're going to turn it back over to our main studio. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to the last, actually, about 15 minutes. And then I'm going to have to hit the road and head for Lunch Bunch today. Looking forward to it. There was a story that crossed my desk yesterday, and it just infuriates me as to how the left, the liberal left, can call anybody they want a racist at any time they feel like it. Now, retiring West Virginia Senator Jay Rockefeller, the chairman of the Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, said, and I'm going to read the entire quote, I'll be able to dig up some emails that make part of the Affordable Care Act that doesn't look good, especially from people who made up their minds that they don't want it to work, referring to Obamacare, because they don't like the president. Maybe he's, referring to the president, the wrong color. Something of that sort. I've seen a lot of that, and I know a lot of that to be true. It's not something you're meant to talk about in public, but it's something I'm talking about in public now because it is very true. In other words, what this man did was say to the news media that many people who oppose Obamacare are racist. And, you know, I was talking to Gina about this earlier this morning when we signed on at about 5 minutes to 8, and I said I am sick and tired of the liberal left having the audacity to automatically call somebody racist if we don't like something with the Obama administration. Now, I'll be very upfront about it. I don't like Obamacare. From the get-go, I have said it's one of the dumbest, most absolutely backward programs, which is going to ruin the health care in America, possibly put us into a single-payer uniform type of coverage, and it's going to destroy research. It's going to be the worst thing that ever happened. I also have said many times, I don't like Obama, not one smidgen. Now, neither of those statements has anything to do with racism, but according to Jay Rockefeller, if you don't like the man as president, you are a racist. If you don't like his policies as the president tries to perpetrate to the American public, you are also, again, racist. Gina, you and I have talked many, many times about Obamacare. You have seen the pitfalls as to how it affected you. I also have had some pitfalls on how it's affected my family. Neither one of us have ever been involved in racism against this man, but we don't like his policies.
I could care less what his skin color is. That's besides the point. You know, that plays no factor in my decision of opposing Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act, and it has no effect on my decision as to opposing his presidency because he has done more damage to our country than he has good. It has nothing to do with his skin color. It has everything to do with his ideology.
Why do people on the left, and I get these letters a couple a month at least, and the liberal left is just absolutely, I think they shouldn't be allowed in public after 6 o'clock at night and never be able to have sharp objects. I don't trust them. I just absolutely am appalled that if you don't like someone's politics or their ideology, as you said, automatically automatically you are a racist because they take that as a hatred for the man's race. And I think that's very uneducated. I think it's very guttural, if you want to know the truth. And I'm offended by these people that always want to play the race card.
They do it because it's easy. They do it because they know that it infuriates people, and they do it because they think that that's how they're going to sway the public to basically push their own agenda. For them, pulling the race card is easy, and it's just their mode of operandi, basically. You don't like something, oh, you're racist. Well, you don't like this person because of their politics, well, you're racist. That's just their way of attacking an issue. They don't come to the table with facts. They just come to the table with the racist clause.
Yeah, and that clause alone has caused a lot of consternation and a lot of problems for people, myself included, about 5 years ago. And as you know, because you were working for KMVT at the time, and for someone to call him a racist, I'm at the point right now, and I make this point emphatically clear. Deanna and I have talked this over, that as we go into the midterm elections in 2014, and then again looking forward to 2016, that I'm just waiting and measuring my words and my thoughts as we get closer to election time, and I'm waiting for the first Democrat or the first left liberal to hang the race tag on me again, and I am going to come after them with every legal means necessary to hurt them financially and also hurt them in the status of their community, because I will not stand for being called that again.
I don't think that you've never ever said anything that was actually straight on racist, and so I will go back and say that it's just easy for them because they don't have an answer, that they don't come to the table with facts. So, well, what are we going to do, people? Oh, well, I don't know the answer. Oh, you're a racist.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they do, because they don't have the facts to back them up. Whereas you and I, we come to the table and we look at stories, we verify everything. I can go through and look up online and actually cite sources. Come to the table with facts. So just because I'm coming to the table with facts doesn't mean that I'm a racist. Does not mean that I don't like a person because of their skin color. It means that I think that they're idiots because they have no facts to back up their ideologies and what they're trying to push forward.
I'm looking at an individual that the more I learn about this man, the more I like his ideology, the more I like his politics, the more I wish that he would throw his hat in the ring, per se, and that's Dr. Benjamin Carson. This man is a very soft-spoken individual that I find to be very interesting, very informed, and a man that I could easily sit down and become a part of his campaign, I think, right now, unless I find out something different. But I wish that he would run. I said the same 5 years ago for Condoleezza Rice. And it seems that some of the people on the left are forgetting that they are also of the same race, supposedly, and more so than Barack Hussein Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama, I don't think should have ever ran for any kind of political whatever. Obviously, he was groomed for this. And so to get across and push forward his political plan, which is, of course, somebody else's political plan because this guy has no plan.
Right.
It's just easy for everybody to, pull the race card. Well, you don't like him because, he's the first black president. I don't care.
Well, wait a minute, though. Stop. Just a second, though, Gina, and this is true. He is not the first black president because of the racial intertwining of his family. He is mulatto by blood, and there's much more white than there is black. And I find it offensive that they would all of a sudden say he's the first African-American president. No, he is not, if you want to stay strictly by the blood standards of what he is, what his lineage is.
Yeah, and true. But that's what the liberal left is trying to push.
I agree. But, this race card is just absolutely sickening to me. And for this man, retiring West Virginia Senator Jay Rockefeller, to say, well, because you don't like Obamacare, you are a racist because the president's the wrong color. That is playing race worse than anybody on any side of the aisle.
No, and you know what? Shame on him for actually even doing that. Shame on people for pulling the race card. Did not we move past that decades ago?
I guess not. Hey, I got to do a weather forecast, and it's brought this hour by our friends at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, your hometown meat cutter. They've been there for over 20 years, and oh my goodness, they've got a summer barbecue special, 50 pounds of beef and pork and chicken. Oh my, and try their marinated tri-tips. Oh, it's delicious. You better call right now at 324-7657, 324-7657, Scarrows Meats. They're selling taste one bite at a time. Here's Michael Rogers weather.
Hi, everyone. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. Sunny all the way across the board through the weekend. Temperatures as low as the middle 70s. And you can see possibly daytime highs in the mid-80s all the way across the board. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weather. I'll see you Monday. So what do you got?
No, Michael, you won't see us Monday. That's Memorial Day. And Gina and I are going to take a well-deserved vacation. So our weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road in Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Have you got anything special planned before I wrap it up for today?
No, I really don't, and we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants and just enjoy the weekend.
You got to do some barbecuing.
Oh, plan on doing that.
You got to do some barbecuing. You got to have some ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Got to have some ice cream. And we have to remember and give some silent tribute to all the people that have helped keep this country free and all of our family members that have passed on before us. And I know a lot of people really take a lot of time and effort and go to the cemeteries and decorations for this weekend.
Well, we plan on going out and doing that and just decorating and cleaning up some gravestones of people that we don't know, especially, veterans. There's one cemetery in Twin Falls that James and I plan on going to and just kind of cleaning up a little bit, because obviously nobody's there to care for these headstones anymore, so we're just going to go and pay tribute and clean them up.
One of these days, and I'm going to say this and then I'm going to do my final word for Les Schwab, but one of these days I'm going to try to get old James by the arm and say, I want to ride in that, what is it, 32 Ford?
It's a 32 Ford pickup. It's not very comfortable to ride in, I give you that, but if you really want to ride in something, have them take you out for a spin in the 71 Grand Sport convertible.
Oh boy, that's the one where you have to put the plastic covers over your boots and everything?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
But it's really nice, and it's a lot of fun.
I'll look forward to it. Listen, on behalf of our family to everybody else's out there, God's blessings for a very safe, sane Memorial Day weekend. Okay. I want to remind everybody about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sake, 7 locations serving you with the best in tires, the best in tires for all your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. They've got all the tires and all the different tread designs. Don't forget to the best in brakes. When you put your foot on the brake, believe me, you're going to stop safely. Best in brake service. Really trained technicians that know brakes. Front end alignment, shocks and struts, and of course batteries, the custom wheels to decorate up your vehicle. They are simply the best. Stop in today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I am going to get ready to leave for lunch bunch, and my lovely cohort in crime, Gina's going to take care of the rest of the program with some music, and I want to say thank you to everybody. This has been last couple of days have been extremely busy with all of the people that bought political ads, all the candidates that ran for their respective offices, and I just want to take this time to say thank you to everybody. You were very nice and very cordial to work with, and we got everybody's copies copy on, and not all could be winners, but to the ones that won and the ones that didn't, thank you very much for being so professional, and we appreciate having you on my program. We will not have a program on Monday. We're going to be gone. We're going to take a little vacation, get out of Dodge City for a while, and just enjoy, and we hope you and your family will be back here joining us again on next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we'll be back on the air at 8:06 right here on KBAR 1230 AM and streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. And on behalf of the lovely Gina Jameson over at our studios and my dear sweet wife right here at home, Deanne, we wish you and your family a very safe Memorial Day weekend. God bless, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be. We'll see you next Tuesday. Take care.